days, electric vehicles seem to be all the buzz, and maybe if you're thinking about buying one, you might have a few questions.
Yeah, questions like, are EVs better for the environment? How do you go about charging one? Do you save more money in the long run by not filling up at the pump? For a better understanding of EVs and all-electric future, we're joined by Director of General Motors Energy, Sequeira. Thanks a lot for coming in this morning.
Thanks for having me.
So let's start off with a real general question. There's so many EVs available. How do you know what's best for you if you're looking for one?
Yeah, so that's a great question, and I think we get this all the time. You have to really understand what you need for your daily commute, the size of your family, and what we have at General Motors is a full portfolio, all the way from the Bolt to the Silverado, that you can fit whatever you need and get the range that you need as well. That'll get you that commute.
And I think, the environment comes into question here. A lot of folks wonder if they're actually better for the environment. What's your take on that?
Yeah, that's one of the myths that are out there. We see these social media posts that make you think, oh, wait, are these okay? Well, you know what? An electric vehicle, the moment you drive that off the lot, you are already reducing tailpipe emissions, which is better for the environment. And as we look to making our grid a little greener, we have the opportunity to really phase out these carbon emissions from tailpipes by getting into electric vehicles.
Yeah, are there some other environmental worries, I assume, with the mining of minerals for the batteries and whatnot, and the batteries' disposal of that? How are you going about taking care of that?
Yeah, so we've got a really awesome supply chain team working on securing that supply chain, making sure we've got sustainable resources to create batteries. As that improves over the coming years, we are looking to have a very sustainable supply chain that'll really minimize the amount of carbon being used.
So when you talk about limited range, right, I'm sure you get this a lot with parents driving all afternoon, every day, 5 days a week, right, toting kids around. Is it practical or is it impractical for daily drivers?
It is very practical. When you're in an electric vehicle, you've got to have a little bit of a paradigm shift in your head. When you bring it home at the end of the day or after that school run, you're plugging it in the same way you would plug your phone in. And then, by the time you leave, it's going to be charged. Have you ever had that with a gas vehicle? You bring it home and it's magically ready to go?
That's true.
That's one of the bonuses
run out
of an
of
electric
gas
vehicle.
every once in a while.
Yeah, I have too.
Oh, for sure. And home charging is critical. So having a great home charging solution for your electric vehicle is something that we strongly believe in, and we want to make sure that a customer understands their options and then has a professional installation set up for them before they drive that EV home.
All right, we just saw some stats of the last few months. I don't know what quarter it was, but EV sales have actually sagged a little bit. When we look ahead like 5 years, where do you see EV vehicles being? Are there still going to be gas vehicles around, or is there still going to be a need for those? What are your views on that?
Yeah, so I think the numbers we've been looking at, EVs as a percentage of total sales has been steadily creeping up. Not as fast as we would have expected, but I think there are other headwinds that are out there that could be influencing that. I think over time you're going to continue to see electric vehicles be a vehicle of choice for certain types, but for those that aren't ready for an electric vehicle, we'll continue to make sure we've got options for them that fit their lifestyle needs.
So gas isn't going anywhere like immediately?
I don't see it going anywhere anytime soon, but electric vehicles are going to continue to climb in popularity.
And you mentioned charging your car at home and the importance of having, that decent car charging station there. Is there a difference between charging your EV at home or charging at a charging station?
Absolutely there is. It's probably one of the biggest topics that we get into, where customers, they just don't understand home charging versus public charging. So we've actually developed a resource, EV Live. evlive.gm.com is a virtual tool where customers can call in through their computer, through their phone, and be connected to an EV specialist throughout the day and ask these types of questions. Two of our top leading topics are, how do I charge at home, or how do I find a public charging station? So you've got an EV specialist that can walk you through that.
Oh, that's kind of neat. Now let's talk about safety overall. Everybody, needs safety in their lives. Are EVs any more or less safe than a traditional combustion engine vehicle?
Absolutely. EVs are just as safe, if not safer, than a combustion vehicle. So we want to make sure that myths like that are dispelled as soon as possible so that customers can have the comfort of getting into an electric vehicle and knowing that they're just as safe.
Well, in a nutshell, take us through what you think really quickly, the future of EVs. What does it look like?
The future of EVs. So what EVs are is probably just a stepping stone. The electric vehicle has a lot more potential than just driving you from A to B. What we want to do at GM Energy is help customers unlock more value out of that electric vehicle, because sitting in your driveway, there's a whole bunch of stored energy there that can be used for many more things. The first of which, later as we launch our first home products, is taking the stored energy from that vehicle and using it to power your home in the event of an outage or a blackout. So you start there, and then you can only think of more options, potentially giving that power back to the grid when the grid needs it the most.
And that's a huge option to have in the Detroit metro area, being able to charge your house when the power goes out.
That is an understatement.
Yeah, it happens to a lot of us. All right, Derek, thanks a lot for your insights. I appreciate you coming in this morning.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks, Derek.